Okay, we are live. There we go. We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here. I am here today with our very own decluttering coach, Julie Wobbe, and we are so excited to talk to you today about how decluttering, how filling your bucket with self-care can propel you forwards in decluttering, which is a wonderful thing, right? Because if you can take care of yourself and declutter, like, oh my gosh, it's a win. That is a fabulous win. So that is our topic today. And before we get into that, I want to say hello, Julie. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, I want to make sure that we are good. If you all can see me in the comments, let me know that you can see me. And I'm just going to bring up the comments on my phone because technology, right? So let's make sure we are good and live. And let's see. There we are. Okay. Decluttering Club is live now, and we have people. Fabulous. Okay, Karen says, I see you, Peggy, Diane, Gretchen, Danielle, go Julie, cheering you on. Okay.
Hi, friends. Go Team Pink. Sorry, had to do
it. So good to see you all. Okay, all right, so Julie, tell us about yourself, introduce yourself. Where are you in the world? Because, you know, we're all over the world. Where are you in the world? Tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into this really important topic.
So my name is Julie. I live in Ontario, Canada. I'm in my living room. It's one of my favorite spaces. What can I tell you about you? About me, I mean. I've always been on this journey of self-love and self-care and kindness, but I found myself a few years ago when my marriage ended and everything kind of fell apart, for lack of a better word. And then I found the decluttering school and I joined a challenge and I fell in love and I started to see things change in my home. And then I wanted to become a coach because there really is no better feeling than taking information that you learn and sharing it and paying it forward with other people. So that's what I love to do. And so I'm so grateful and honored that I can chat with you all today because I really am passionate about this topic. And as soon as I knew Sarah was going to ask us, I said, can I talk about this? And she said, yes. So here we are.
I love it. I love it. I love how you have the hearts on your sweater.
Yeah,
there.
That was intentional. Yeah.
That is so cute. Yeah. Well, we love you too. And you are definitely known around here as the one who just reminds us, right? Who just reminds us to breathe and to take care of ourselves, you know, because, you know, what's the point if you're going to spend 6 months, a year longer decluttering and you're just burning yourself out? Like, why would you do that? Right. And we are so against that around here, right? We do not subscribe to, you know, work yourself to the bone. So Julia's here to help us with that. Right?
Yes. Yes. So awesome. What I thought I would get started, so I have a couple of points and I made notes so that I would make sure. But basically what I hope to share with you all is identifying how you want to feel in your space. Share how there's some common things that people say, well, Julie, I can't because I don't have time, or I don't feel like it, or I'm not motivated, or nothing changes. And then I'm going to share why I believe that self-care and pouring into yourself and filling your bucket will help you declutter, and it'll give you the tools that you need. And then at the very end, I want to share my concept of self-care and kindness credits. And
kindness credits, is that what you said?
Yes, and kindness.
Ooh, okay. Kindness. I love that. Love that.
And then Sarah will share this link, but I made up some worksheets because I wanted you guys to have an action item that you could work on so that you could hopefully apply what I share today.
Okay, so there's homework. All right, you guys, you need to go to get your homework.
It's fun homework, I promise.
Okay, fantastic. All right, we have a whole bunch of people saying hi. This is fantastic. Donna from Vancouver, Lisa from Florida. Marianne Jackson says, love you, Julie and Sarah. Judy's here from upstate New York. There's Ahava. She's tagging her sister. There's Summer. Oh my gosh, so many of you. This is amazing. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. And by the way, if you know someone who is really into self-care or who could use a little self-care, this might be a great time to share that video out or tag them in the comments. It really helps to tell Facebook, hey, this is a video that other people need to see. Okay, so we love that and we appreciate that when you do that. Okay, so Tell us all the things.
Okay, so the first thing is identifying how you want to feel in your space. So it's very easy sometimes to get a list of tips or a checklist or something that you want to do in your house. And we can even do a challenge. And then at the end, we're like, what next? So I like to take it one step back, and I like to think, okay, how do you want to feel in your space? So I ask people, and I ask myself, how do I feel right now? And how do I want to feel? So I visualize it and I set an intention. So most times people say, I feel a little overwhelmed. I feel claustrophobic. I feel crowded. I feel sad in my space. And then when you ask them, well, how do you want to feel? They say, I want to feel calm. I want to feel joy. I want to feel peace. So then what I would say to you is, okay, set the intention. So we're going to start with your space, and then I'll get back to how self-care helps that. So you set the intention. So for me, I want to feel joyful.
Okay.
When I have that intention, when I revisit that intention, when I'm crystal clear on that, anything that happens in my day, any mess that I might see, anything, like, to be perfectly honest, just before this call, something happened and I was like, oh my gosh, center yourself, go back into self-care. Like, that's not going to derail us. And I think that is proof that this works, because you can bring yourself back so quickly. That doesn't mean that you don't deal with sad things or bad feelings or stuff that just comes up. It's just a gentle reminder that I had the intention that when I'm in my space, I want to feel joy. Okay. How can I get back to that? Yes.
2 questions. Okay. So first of all, I want to hear what feeling are you all, everybody who's watching, let us know, like, do 1 or 2 words. How do you want to feel? Because, maybe it's not calm. Maybe it's fun, or maybe it's love, or maybe it's, productive. I don't know. Right? Like, what feeling are you going for? Let us know in the comments. And then my second question, Julie, you said set the intention. So tell me how do I set my intention? Like, can you explain a little bit about that?
So for me, the way that I set it is that, so mine is joy. I want to feel joy. And so I look at a space and I look at it and I'm like, hello, space. How do I feel? And if I feel disorganized, or if I feel sad, I ask myself, okay, how can I change that? And then I write it down. So by me saying set intention, I actually write it down, because then it's like I'm committing, but I don't want to use that word. I don't want to give you guys like the hard words, but I write that down, and I actually have items in my house that give me that feeling. So I'm looking at my cabinet right in front of me, and it says leave room for joy. So I have a sign in my house, or I have a color that I like, or a feeling. So that's how I set the intention, because we know that life happens. We also know that when we're kinder to ourselves, when we have gratitude, so part of the intention is I look around and I find things that I'm grateful for. So my kitchen right now, it's not the way that I normally like it, but I'm grateful for the fact when I just look at it, I'm like, oh, I have that hot chocolate bar for Valentine's Day that I set up. And it's kind of like, if you think about, if you have a backpack and you're walking around your day, and every time something good or happy or joyful happens, you put it in your backpack. And so it's a lot like a gentle reminder. So when I'm walking around, I could focus on, oh my gosh, my children were up in the middle of the night and they made all these things and they left a mess. Or I could focus on, oh, I made that hot chocolate thing. So it brings me back into my intention that I want to feel joy. So then I don't automatically go to resentment because other people in my home changed my joy. And so with the intention, when you're thinking about that, I also would ask you you can have a discussion with your family, which I did, but remember that you're the one that's looking for that feeling, and you're the one that's learning the tools, because it's very easy for us to say, oh, well, my intention went out the window because no one else cares about it. And then you're resentful of them. That's not going to serve you. So that's when I would say, go back to that backpack you were carrying, and you have all those moments, and pull them out to remind yourself. And then the other thing that I would say is just be curious about the feelings that you have in your space. And I put the word surrender and giving yourself permission, because this is an example. I'm in my dining room right now. I turned my dining room into my office space because I feel joyful in this space. There's a light in front of me. It's kind of like the hub of our house. We don't have a dedicated place to eat now, but who cares? We're the ones that live here, right? So that's why I say be kinder and surrender. We don't have to follow all these rules that other people gave us. We get to make the rules. And that is a big part of self-care, because sometimes when you think about self-care or self-love, you think, oh, I'm going to have a bubble bath. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to have chocolates. It's not really that. Mm-hmm. Self-care for me some days is remembering to put toilet paper in every room, so mm-hmm. that when you're in the bathroom and you're not the last one that's like, oh, the roll of toilet paper. And I know that seems silly, but it really does change.
Right. Yeah.
Your day, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that would be intention and visualizing the space. So then
let's see what some people are saying. Peaceful, contentment. Ahava says pleased with space, in order and welcoming. A lot of people are saying joy, security, free. Karen says free. Where was it? There was another one. Summer says noticeable productivity. I love that one. Freedom is good. Okay, this is great. And the one thing that you also said, I imagine if you remind yourself, my intention is to feel joy in this space, you can look over and notice, okay, there's some like mugs that the kids left out in the middle of the night or whatever. Wonder, how can I feel joy about that right now? Right? Instead of being like, oh, they forgot to clean up, you could be like, oh my gosh, they were sisters having a good time together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like you could find joy in, like, you don't have to ignore that. Right? You don't have to be like, okay, I can't see it. No. La, 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 I can't hear this. Right? You're actually looking for a circumstance that you can use to trigger joy, even if it's not 100% clean. Right?
Yes.
That's not
100%. So that's part of self-care, is the words that you use, the attachments that you have to things, and the way that you view things, because that's exactly it. Like I could think, okay, so they were up and they were making cookies. I could think, oh my gosh, they made a mess. Mm-hmm. Or I could think, oh, they're bonding and they're cooking.
Love each other. Yes.
Right? And then
they were doing self-care.
Yes, they were doing, and it is true, because this has a ripple effect on your family. So my youngest said to me one day, she's like, Mom, so when you get overwhelmed and you're looking for joy, you declutter. Like that brings you joy. And it does, it truly does. Like, I think baking is what brings me joy, she said. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so yes. So, and there's lots of things that they can use so that they can bake. So they have a tool, because not everyone wants to journal. Not everyone wants to go and have a bubble bath. No, not everyone can stop and go for a walk or meditate or whatever. So you need to find, or I encourage you to find ways in your life that you can find whatever that feeling is. So that's part of the intention.
Oh, that's so good. Isn't that good, you guys? Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills. I love it. Okay. All right, keep going. Okay. So then set our intention.
So you've set your intention, and then, like always happens in life, things come up. So you might say to yourself, I don't have enough time, or I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't deserve this, or I'm overwhelmed. So what I would say to that is, so when you're thinking about time, we all have the same hours in the day, but what is your priority? So if your priority and your intention is you want to feel joy, you can make the time. If you're struggling to make the time, what I would ask you to do is to schedule it into your schedule, because you are worth making an appointment for yourself and for your space. And then if that's hard, because sometimes even for me, I shared this with one of my friends, I needed to clean my kitchen. I wanted to clean my kitchen, but every time I walked into the kitchen, I didn't want to clean my kitchen. And I was like, okay, so my kitchen isn't bringing me joy. I don't want to do this. How can I do it? So I actually went into a different space in my house that I could work on very quickly, and it brought me a sense of joy. So it's almost like I got that dopamine hit of getting joy. And then I was like, oh, I'm back centered. I feel like, so I went and worked on my kitchen. If that doesn't work, I would say revisit the places that you have worked on so that you can see proof of what's possible. Or if you're part of a community, look at theirs. Just remember that when you're looking at other people's pictures or posts, that that's their journey and it can be encouragement. Just don't compare yourself to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the last one on time, if you say that you don't have enough time, this is going to be a little bit of a homework for you. I really encourage you in those moments to rest and do something kind for yourself that will make you happier, whatever it is that is. Maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's watching a show, maybe it's calling a friend, maybe it's putting toilet paper in all the rooms, whatever it is, because self-care and rest, I believe, gives you the gift of more time. So then you can declutter. So then you have even more time.
Okay. Mic drop. Self-care and rest gives you the gift of more time. Yeah. That is a beautiful thought there. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited here. This is fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me here. Thank you everyone on Facebook for watching. So then the other thing is when we don't feel like we're enough, it shows up in our words, our feelings, our mood, and our space. So that same kitchen that I might be committed to when I set the intention and I love, if I had done a different thing and I came downstairs and I saw all the baking and I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm so resentful. These children are driving me crazy. Like, why do I have to do it all? It's not fair. I would immediately then go into feeling overwhelmed and stressed, and I'd start being mean to myself. I'd say, you're not a good mom either. You didn't teach them the tools so that they could do that. That is rubbish. We are all worthy and good people just because we exist. We were born beautiful souls, and we are. So for that one, I would say that's when you really could take from that backpack of your self-care credits and all the things that you've done. The reason, I'll get to it in more depth, but the reason why I like to think of it is you have it in a backpack, you have it in a bucket or a cup, is it's like you're making deposits into a bank account and you can withdraw them when you're having a hard time or you're struggling, so that you can remember that there was a time I felt safe, I felt joyful, I felt enough, I felt happy, and you can draw on those to bring back those feelings, because I don't want us to rely on outside sources, because for many of us, this is the Decluttering Club page. Some of us might say, oh, well, I can get that feeling of joy. I'm going to go shopping, or I'm going to go eat a tub of ice cream, or I'm going to do whatever those things are, but they're not really serving us and they're not loving ourselves. There's a time and a place. Like, I love ice cream, I love shopping, but I didn't get into a place where I needed to declutter because I loved shopping. I got into a place where I needed to declutter because I used shopping as a way to not feel my feelings, and I thought it would make me feel better.
Totally. And even if we depend on, let's say, the family saying nice things, like, that feels really good, right? When somebody notices, oh, your house looks so great, right? We're like, yes, it does. And we can come to depend on that if we're not careful. Right. And then if they come in the next day and they don't say anything, you're like, wait, I did all this work, how come you didn't notice? Or even worse, they say, it doesn't really look like you did anything, and you've spent hours, right? So we need to not depend on that. So important.
Yes. So in those moments, the other thing that I like to think about is, what if we could flip the switch?
Okay.
And so what could that look like for you? So I asked that to everyone on Facebook, like, what would it look like if you just flipped the switch, and instead of relying on someone in your family to notice, going shopping, going to feeling overwhelmed, instead, you decided that, you know what, I'm going to just feel joy just because I'm deserving of feeling joy in the space. I don't even have to do anything to get there. If you start with that, I feel like that's your intention and your declaration. Then you can take action, because you're going back to that and you're like, oh, right, I said this is how I wanted to feel. Sometimes when we try something new, or if it feels like we haven't done this before or other people aren't doing it, we feel like, oh, someone's going to judge me for this, or we're paralyzed. Like, how do we actually do this? I would say that you actually do it by just starting and picking that area. It could be, and I love this as an idea. I'm not saying you have to do this, but I love doing something in your bedroom or where you sleep, so that when you go to bed at night, you have something that brings you that feeling in your space. And when you wake up, it's the first thing you see. And then what if you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to trust this girl, Julie, and she's saying this. I'm just going to work from this feeling of joy or happy or calm. What does that mean? So for me, and what I want to share with you is that that means that you commit, set the intention that you're going to use self-care to get that feeling. Because what I have found in my whole life, and I've been testing this out forever, but really intentionally for the past year, I feel happier. Mm-hmm. I feel less resentful. I very rarely, like just before this call, I was like, don't get upset, don't get upset, don't get upset. And it worked. And then I came on the call because I was like, nothing good comes out of exploding or reacting to things, right? So when you practice self-care and kindness towards yourself, you're being proactive for the things that are going to happen, that are going to come into your day that you weren't expecting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you feel less shame. Because most people, I would say, when you thought about how you want to feel in your space, you also want to have a space that you can invite someone over, or you can have a repair person come in and you're not overwhelmed, you're not stressed, and you're not rushing around. And I feel that over time, you want more spaces and more feelings of joy. It becomes something that increases your happiness, and how you feel directly corresponds to your space. So when I'm feeling happy and joyful, my space reflects that, because I've taken the time, because I remembered, I set the intention that I wanted to do this. And when I say time, friends, this happened at 10-minute increments at a time. I didn't do this all at once. Time builds on each other. The things that you do for self-care for yourself build on each other, and it almost becomes second nature, and you're not even thinking about it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right. So start with the feeling.
Yes.
And then, and take care of yourself. And then the work will come out of that. And it's like, we kind of think, oh, we got to go clean up, and then we can enjoy the kitchen. Then we can feel good. But you're saying, flip the switch.
Yes.
Right? Start with the feeling, and then you'll actually want to do that work.
Yes.
Out of a place of abundance, and not out of a place of like obligation or resentment or something like that.
Yes. So I used to have this thing that I used to call that I would angry clean. So if I use your example of, I have to clean the kitchen so that I can go spend time with my family or in my space. What if I said to myself, I get to clean my kitchen and make it a place that brings me joy and happiness, and we can enjoy our space. So it's not if I do that, then I get this. It's more, all blends together. And it's, so changing our words is part of flipping the switch too, into I want to do this, I get to do this, I am doing this, instead of I have to do this, or no one else does anything, so I have to do it. It's up to me.
Right. Yeah. Because the truth is, nobody has to do anything. Nobody has to do the dishes. Nobody has to, pick up the laundry. Like, you can just leave it there. And people do, right? But then at the same time, they're telling themselves, I should. They're shooting all over the place, or I have to. And it's not true, right? But when we tell ourselves we have to, now we feel like angry and rebellious. And then we don't want to. Right? It's like we're bossing ourselves around, and we're like, no, not going to do it. And then it doesn't get done.
Yes, most definitely. So when I was on this journey, and I'll go back a little bit to how it really ties into decluttering. So when I first met you, and if you know me and you've seen me chat before, I remember so clearly being in my kitchen, and you actually said my name, which was like, I thought like you were a rock star. And you were like, Julie, what if the fact that you have like 25 mugs just means that you have 25 mugs and I have 7? I'm not a better person. I'm not a good person because I have 7 mugs, and you're a bad person because you have 25. It's just stuff. It doesn't mean anything about who you are. And I took that, I internalized that so much and embraced it and loved it. And then a few months into my journey, I was working on a different project, and someone was reading what I wrote, and she's like, Julie, is it really that easy? Like, is that what happened? Like, didn't anything else happen? And so I was like, yes, it really was that easy. Now that a year has passed, I started to revisit. I'm like, okay, what else did I do? So this is too much for this call, but the other idea that when you're working on your self-worth and being kindness to yourself, your self-care and being kindness to yourself, you believe in yourself more and you believe you're more worthy. And that was the other thing that I worked on in parallel. So I stopped listening to the voices in my head. I stopped listening to the thoughts that I thought, oh, people think that I'm a hoarder because I have all this much stuff. People think that I'm messy. People think that I'm disorganized because I have ADHD. All these things, your mind is so cluttered with these negative thoughts, and it's not true. So when I started feeding myself with kindness and saying, you know what? You got up today. It was a hard day and you got up. You smiled, you fed the cats, you did a workout or whatever it is you did, you made yourself a cup of tea. And then I started thinking, okay, how can I make this a little bit more? So not to add to your day, but self-care to me is anything that you can do to make your life easier or that brings you joy or brings you pleasure. So now, like, for example, I did buy 4 new mugs. I will say after that, but these bring me joy, so much more joy than the mismatched ones that I had that I thought I needed because I was traveling. These bring me joy. So now when I drink water or drink a tea, I drink it out of this. When I'm plating my food, I do it in that way. When I'm when I'm doing laundry, which is not my fun task, I play music or I listen to a podcast. So think of all the ways when you're doing the things that you do anyways to incorporate self-care, self-love, kindness.
Oh my gosh, we are getting like hearts going like crazy.
Oh,
people are loving
I'm sorry,
this.
guys. I'm so chatty.
So fun. No, it's fantastic.
So Sarah can read.
Fantastic. It's so good. Yeah, Kay says, I need to keep playing this tape in my head over and over. Yes, listen to Julie. She knows. She knows. Love it. Oh, it's so exciting. So you're saying like, self-care, yes, reading a book, sitting down, but also playing music when you're doing laundry.
Yes.
I love it. Or picking your favorite cup. Hello, right here.
Yes.
Even though there's a chip.
But you still love it, right?
I don't care because I love it. It's my favorite cup right here. So you could just work it in.
Yes. And so one of the things so if you go to my website and you can download this, I put 3 worksheets. So one of them is this idea of self-care and kindness credits, which I'll talk about. One is journal and reflection and a place for you to put, everyone has a to-do list, but what if you had a to-do list that said, okay, these are the things maybe I need to make this call, I'm going to meal prep, whatever it is you're going to do. But then on the right-hand side of it, I have a spot for you to mark down when you're kind to yourself or when you are showing yourself self-care. So you can record it, because there's going to be days, this happens to me, when you can't even draw on that backpack, you can't draw on your cup, you can't draw on anything, but you can pick up, I should have brought my journal, I'm sorry, it's right here. You can pick up your journal and you can read, I actually did a lot of stuff. I really was caring for myself. I was kind for myself. That's another way to bring you back into that feeling of joy and self-care and abundance and happy, calm, whatever those feelings are that you want to have.
So that's like your reminder, and you can draw on that when you're like, no, I got nothing. I'm terrible. I'm awful to myself. Wait a second. Let me go read. Oh, actually, was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, I think we go to the worst, right? We go to the worst possible scenario. We're like, the world is ending. This is all terrible. It's a nightmare, right? When we're like, oh wait, yeah, yesterday I had a really nice day, or this morning was pretty great.
Yes.
We forget so easily. Okay. I dropped the link to Julie's website in the comments, you guys. It's also above this video. It is creatingspacewithjulie.com.
Yes.
Really simple. You just type that in if you want, creatingspacewithjulie.com. No spaces in there, just one string of letters, and you can go and find Julie's website, and then you can request the printables. Okay.
Yes. Cool. And I made an image. So as soon as you go there, you'll see Hi Decluttering Friends, and it's right there. So it's very easy. So if you don't work on any of those worksheets, the one that is, it's pink and black and white, and it says self-care, how can you show yourself self-care and kindness? And that's the journal prompt. And then there's a whole bunch of spaces really pretty with hearts and stuff. That's when I would like you to write down all the ways that you can think. Like, so I wrote down, you can find moments of calm, look for the gratitude, do something nice for you, do something kind for someone else, find someone to help, change your words. Instead of I have to, Change it to I get to. Be kind. Breathe. I should breathe. Go for a walk. Listen to music. Drink out of your favorite teacup, whatever that is. So record those and maybe put those on your fridge or put them on your bathroom mirror. If I gave you a tour of my house, you would find all over my house Post-its. And I literally just yesterday bought heart ones. So I leave little messages around the house as reminders for all three of us, so that we can, if none of this works, and I will tell you the self-care and kindness credits in a second, if none of this works, I would remind you to, in the moments when you're feeling like, I just can't do any of this, close your eyes and then open your eyes and find one thing to be grateful for, no matter where you are. Gratitude, self-care, kindness always brings you back to that feeling that you want.
Yeah, like running water, right? Yep. Like electricity. Every time the power goes out of my house, I'm like, oh, I love power. Like it can be like that, or it can be like, I don't know, like spring is coming.
Yes.
like we don't have to think hard, right?
Oh, yes.
You can always find something.
Yes, always, always, always. The pillow that you slept on, the birds are singing. I did this a lot when my children were younger. It would be their feet on the floor. That sound, something about the pitter patter of their feet was so sweet. And no matter what was happening, I'd go back to that moment. Because the other thing that I will share is, and I love that you said about running water and electricity, because the things that we have wished for, or the things that we're just given pretty much naturally, someone else wishes that they had. So when we think about that, so the self-care credits, there is a worksheet for there. What I would like you to do on that one is to start recording. And so just for a week, so I should have printed the sheets, I'm sorry, but I put the days of the week on one side and then I just put lines, and you could write down the ideas that you brainstorm that you might want to do. And that's a different way to mark it off. So some people who like to see their habits, because you can call it a habit, that see their habits and like to check them off, that will work. If that overwhelms you or stresses you, skip that part, because remember, you get to choose. You always get to choose. And then I would use the brainstorming sheet that says, how can I show myself self-care and kindness? Just as a reminder, or use Post-it notes, or come back to this live and listen to it. Are there any questions? Does that sound?
Okay, let's see. We've got a whole bunch of comments in here. Jenny says sunshine, right? A warm shower. Yes. Let's see. Robin says, what a good idea. Write down when you've been kind to yourself. Yeah. Teresa was late joining the video. Yeah, this is of course available on the replay. So, if you're late coming in, or if you catch this later, you can absolutely go back to the beginning. All right. Yeah, so make sure you go and get the printables from Julie's website, you guys. Okay, Charm says, as a missionary, I know simple things we take for granted, like real floors, not dirt floors, is a blessing. You know what I've heard, like if you have running water and electricity and a warm place to sleep, you're ahead of what, 90% of the world?
Yeah.
Like literally, seriously. And so, when you're looking around, you're like, oh my goodness, there's so many things to do, or you're like, why me? You just think about that, like my mentor, Perry Marshall, he says, 90% of your battles were won for you before you were born.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it is true. And when we remember that changes a bad attitude pretty quick. And I only know because I've been there. Right. Okay. You guys, that I am not a saint. Right. And Julie's not either, but we just want to remember that and just take a moment, because that will bring us back to where we want to be, right? And then we can move forward.
And so that brings you, so the reason why I like the idea of recording it, having, however you do it, just making note, is that brings us back to the very beginning when I said, okay, so how do you want to feel in your space, and set the intention? So now the idea that you filled your cup absolutely allows you to pour into others. And I'll give you the perfect example. I have 2 children. I am sometimes a little bit like Mummy Dearest when I'm like, but I do my best. We all do our best. I do it with love and kindness. One day I was sitting and I was so overwhelmed. Actually, Sarah, it was the week when I had told you that my air conditioning, my dishwasher, and my washing machine all broke at the same time. And I said to you, I was like, I don't need a prince. I need like someone that knows how to clean and fix these appliances. I didn't ask
You need
for
a
this.
repairman.
Yes, I definitely need a repairman. And I was sitting here, and my youngest child said to me, Mom, take Sarah's course, write the book, do all the things you want to do. Don't worry about that. We'll figure out that. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, Mom, when you do the things that make you happy, when you fill your cup, our whole family works better. Mm. So that's a 12-year-old. And so we go through our days and we think, I can't take care of myself because I need to take care of everyone else.
Yes.
I would ask you to switch that. It's the same thing as when you're in an airplane and they say, don't put on your mask. Don't put on someone else's mask until you put on. When you fill your cup, when you build those self-care and kindness, self-love credits, when you feel worthy and happy and joyful, fun, whatever the word was that you said, you pour naturally into others. And it doesn't even seem like work. And to bring it back to decluttering, what I have found, and everyone that I've worked with that I've shared this with, they find that their decluttering speeds up and they're happier because they become more intentional. And it's almost like, okay, I did it in this space. I want to recreate it in the other one. And then they realize I have more time because everything just feels simpler and works in flow, which is what I think people are working towards, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, you're in that zone. You're in flow. Absolutely. Yeah. So, oh, I don't have time to take care of myself. No, you don't have time not to take care of yourself. Maybe that's the truth, right? Like if you stop, do what you need to do, now you're going to have energy for the rest of the things that you want to do. All those loved ones and the tasks and all that kind of thing. So important.
Yeah.
So
for
good.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Sure. Okay. I love it. All right. What else? Where are we now?
So I think like I could talk about so much more. I want to try and keep it on the topic. So the other things that I can offer is that the idea of self-care, self-love, kindness, pleasure, whatever way that you want to think about it, make that what you embody with how you're going through your day. So if you are thinking, okay, Julie, I can't do this because I can't even find a space to sit down on my couch to watch you on Facebook right now, like that might be where you are, then I would encourage you to think about, okay, so the future you that has gotten to that place that you want to, how would they be acting? And you don't need to wait until your place is decluttered enough so you can sit down and watch a Facebook, because you just do it, because it's almost like you're claiming it before it's happened, so that you're tricking your brain into thinking, oh yeah, I'm not that person. I'm not what those thoughts are telling me that, oh yeah, I couldn't find the page. I couldn't do this. There's papers here. My cat knocked over my water. I might as well just give up. Don't let yourself do that. Embody what it is that you want to feel in your space, which then turns into who you want to become and how you want to be in your space, and do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait. You're so worth it. Every single person is so worthy and so full of love, so full of kindness and deserving of that claim it now. Don't wait.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So Marcia says, this is one of the best self-care videos I've seen. So glad I watched. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much,
Marcia.
Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. So before we wrap up, so you are a coach. People can work with you. Okay. Tell us a little bit about who do you work with? What kind of coaching work do you do?
Okay, so that I was thinking about this before the call, because when we were training, I had this idea that I wanted to work with single moms that are like me, and that I figured, oh, I need to work with someone that's between like 40 and 60. And then I had a call with a mom who's much younger than me, 2 little kids, and I was terrified And if she's watching, I love you so much. But I was terrified because I thought, I'm out of that stage. How can I relate to her? And then I realized I was thinking of it and approaching it all wrong. One, everything that I learned applies to all areas of decluttering. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's just stuff. It's not us, it's just stuff. But the idea of getting down to figuring out how you want to feel in your space and being intentional and using self-care, kindness, gratitude applies to everyone. So I don't really have a specific, like I'm not, how do I explain it? I'm not, words.
You're not working with a particular kind of person.
Like, I'm not, like, so for example, we have Linda. Linda is amazing with time management. I'm good at time management, but I don't have a specialty. My specialty is believing in you and helping you create the space in your heart and in your home so that everything else works the way that you want it, 10 minutes at a time.
Oh, that is amazing. I love it. Okay, next question. That's so good. Okay, creatingspace.julie.com, you guys. Okay, so people can go to your website. They can get your printable. I'm going to put you on the spot here because we haven't talked about this. Are you sending a newsletter yet? I mean, can people hear?
So
you are.
Please sign up, because I will hop into your mailbox maybe twice a month. I'd like to do every week. I'm going to commit to twice a month.
Every week is good. Every week.
Okay, I'm going to do it every week. I'm committing to every week. I'm setting the intention of every week. And I'm just going to remind you, because I love what you said. I think the biggest compliment that I have gotten on this decluttering journey, okay, Marsha, what you said touched my heart. Before you said that about this being the best self-care talk that you had heard, Sarah, when you said that I'm known about the team and the group as the person that reminds us to take care of ourselves and to be in gratitude and flow, is the biggest compliment, because that is what I want. So I would love to be able to go into your inbox every week. I'm committing to every week with something, a reminder for self-care and kindness. And I will also talk about how we can create space and tips for decluttering that will help you, because they go hand in hand. But yes, I would love you to sign up. When you go to my webpage and when you see the part that says Hi Decluttering Friends, and you click on that and you put in your name and your email, immediately you will get my worksheets.
Okay.
The next step is that you can opt in to be added to my newsletter, and then you will get it every week, and it'll just show up in your inbox, and you don't have to do anything else.
And you can hear from Julie every single week. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then you need to go hire her, and she will help you create space and feel peace and joy and all of the beautiful things. This has been amazing. Okay. We have all the comments coming in. You have to go read the comments. We're done because they are so amazing. All right. Do you have any final words? Any final thoughts?
Remember that you get to choose. You are worthy because you are. You don't need to do anything. You get to choose how you feel in your space, how you spend your day. Just remember that you are loved, you are supported, and you're enough right now in this moment.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is just beautiful. Thank you so much, Julie. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Being here. This has been just such so good. I know so many people are going to really benefit from this. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.